Welcome back to MSNBC Live. I'm Carlos Watson. Now, when it comes to the price tag for health care reforms, the Senate Finance Committee is key to moving President Obama's plans along. Joining me now is Democratic Senator Robert Menendez of New Jersey, who sits on the Finance Committee, among several others. Senator Menendez, good to have you again, sir.
Good to be back with you, Carlos.
Senator Menendez, incredibly interesting articles in the Wall Street Journal today talking about the role of the pharmaceutical industry in this whole health care debate. And in short, the Wall Street Journal, not a very liberal newspaper, arguing that Congress and the Obama administration essentially has given the pharmaceutical industry a little bit of a pass, that in terms of trying to control costs, they haven't been aggressive enough to go beyond the $80 billion that the pharmaceutical industry is talking about offering up as part of financing healthcare reform. Do you agree that the pharmaceutical industry needs to do more?
Well, I think the pharmaceutical industry stepped up to the plate early. They came up with $80 billion. It's interesting that the insurance industry that makes nearly $12 to $13 billion among 10 companies hasn't stepped up to the plate at all in terms of contributing to health care insurance. So I would argue that, in fact, the pharmaceutical industry, which makes a lot of investments in research and development and life-saving, life-enhancing drugs, stepped up to the plate and has been one of the early contributors to the type of reform we want to see.
But now, Senator, the critics obviously would say that pharmaceutical industry is largely based in New Jersey, your state, as well as a lot in Pennsylvania, and so they would say that maybe you're more open to their perspective. Is there a world in which, even though they did step up early, as you said, and even though they have put $80 billion on the table, that in order to finance what is likely to cost $1 trillion, that we should look to them for yet more still?
Well, the bottom line, Carlos, it seems to me that before we look for more from the pharmaceutical industry, and look, that's an industry that is throughout the nation. Yes, we have a great presence in New Jersey. We're proud of companies that create life-enhancing, life-saving drugs. They're not only in Pennsylvania, they're in North Carolina, they're in different parts of the country. So they create opportunities and employment for people all over. But before we ask more of the pharmaceutical industry, there are a lot of major players here who in fact are making enormous profits, like the insurance industry, and they haven't stepped up at all. So let's bring all of the players in towards the ultimate cost of health care, and then we can look at whether we need more from any one of them.
Fair enough. Senator Menendez, I want to bring in my guest co-host this morning, Angela Burt Murray, a good New Jersey resident.
Yes, I am.
I think, who's the editor-in-chief of Essence.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Quick question. Looking at the Sotomayor hearing, she came through with flying colors. She's likely to be confirmed. Does this appointment have any impact on the growing Hispanic power base in this country?
Well, look, Judge Sotomayor, in and of herself, is an American success story. I'm sure if you asked her growing up poor in the public housing projects in New York, that she could rise to be a United States Supreme Court justice in this great country, the highest court in the land. She may not have thought that's possible, but it's the promise of America fulfilled. And I think it's a great story for all Americans. Certainly, the Latino community is very proud of her. First and foremost, because she is an exemplary judge, committed to the rule of law, committed to the Constitution, committed to precedents, the greatest experience of any nominee in 100 years in terms of federal experience. That's one hell of a statement. But the final line is we obviously take pride in that somebody from the largest minority in the community, because of their talents and abilities and their experience, can now rise and be on the United States Supreme Court. And I think it sends a great message to young Latinos and to young people across the country that with hard work, perseverance, that anything is possible.
Senator Menendez, we only have 30 seconds. Very quick question for you. I know you oversee the Democratic Senate Campaign Committee, so basically what Senate contenders there are next year. Do you think Sonia Sotomayor's ascension will lead to more Hispanic candidates running for major Senate seats next year?
Well, we certainly hope that people who are highly qualified and who have the ability to represent the interests of their state and strike a responsive chord with the views of the constituency of that state will come forward, and certainly will consider any candidate who has that high quality, who strikes a responsive chord with their electorate, who represents the interests of their state, as a possibility for the Senate.
Hey, all of you potential Senate candidates, you heard the man here say it today. Senator Bob Menendez, thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you.